Now, when we look further at the state of March, one thing that we can't escape is that the graphic novel portion of the business is continuing to lag the performance of comics, of the performance of monthly periodical comics. The graphic novel slate, the number of new graphic novels released, was smaller as well, by about 14%, which is a bit closer to what we would normally expect sales to have been off by. But graphic novel dollar sales were off 22%. That's quite a lot. Why did that happen? One of the main reasons for it is that uh, March 2017, and I've got a link to that here. March 17 was a month where there was a lot, not simply because of the 5 week month, but we had down here a new saga, a new Walking Dead, and there's just a whole lot of hardcovers that came out. I mean, just look here. I mean, 150, 125, 125. There's $100 books going on for quite a ways in here. And yeah, many of them were being liquidated, but it didn't matter in the sense that it was still, Diamond received dollars for them, which ended up winding up in the number that we had to beat year to year, and so this particular month, we only had two books over 5,000 copies, or over 4,000 copies even. There was another Walking Dead edition. This Walking Dead edition ended up selling about 4,000 copies fewer than the one from a year ago in March. Interestingly, that figure is off 22% by units, which is pretty close to what the unit total was for all graphic novels being off. So it's something where whatever is going on with graphic novels, it seems to be impacting things, or the volumes of things, at least in that one case, fairly evenly. Green Lantern, Earth One, that led the graphic novel portion of the reorder charts a time or two here recently, 9,000 copies. And you can scroll down and see all of the different editions. One of the things that you can do here, and this is a little trick. If you want to see whether or not there's a lot of heavy discounting going on, as happened in March of 2017, what you can do is you can resort the list by dollars. Now, this is the number of this is the amount of money that Diamond received from retailers. So it's not the total dollar value of all of these books if they sold, but it's the invoiced dollar value, or the wholesale value. And what we'll see here is that Walking Dead is still the number one book in dollars, but we get a different number two. We end up with Infinity Gauntlet, and this led the reorder charts and hardcovers a couple of times as well. Marvel moved 530 of those, but at $500 at full retail, you don't have to sell too many to wind up way up the charts. And so you'll be able to look at that here and see that there are occasions where the units and dollars diverge, and they'll either diverge because the thing that is being sold is more expensive or less expensive. Realm Volume One, that's a $9.99 graphic novel according to Diamond. So you're looking at something which costs a lot less than the other things in the chart. And so it's number 5 in units, but number 45 in dollars. Now, what are the tells for something being deep discounted or having a heavy discount? Well, what that's going to be is where you're going to see quite a lot of things, or quite a lot of copies ordered But the expected number of dollars that you would imagine something would have from having a high price is not giving it a high dollar ranking. So let's go down. Let's see here. I think a good example will be found right around here. Here we go. Here's a perfect one. Dark Tower Gunslinger, the premium hardcover. The Journey Begins. This is a book that's been out for quite a long time, and it's $24.99 and has a unit sales ranking of 415. At $25, that would normally have a slightly higher dollar ranking because the average price of a graphic novel is a little bit higher than $20. But instead, here it is at 3,074th place. And then you'll see it again here, Dark Tower Battle of Jericho Hill, a $20 book. That means that these two figures should be pretty close together, and instead it's way down 3,000th place in the dollar rankings. That means that there was a sale on that book. You don't even have to be a diamond retailer to know that there was a sale on for that book. And that it did not result in as many dollars accruing to Diamond as a result of the book coming out. But yeah, graphic novels have tended to be the category that has lagged in the direct market over the last almost a year now. And there are a number of theories about why. One is fairly simple, which is that when there's not a lot of excitement necessarily in the new comic side of things, well, that's going to have an impact over on the graphic novel side several months later, because these are sort of like the home video release or the collected edition release of the TV series. Several months later, it's going to definitely be impacted. It's an echo of what's going on earlier. But that also explains one of the reasons why we were down so much against March 2017 in graphic novels, because one of the other things that happened this time last year was that we were getting the first batch of graphic novels collecting the Rebirth books. Not the first ones, but it was still part of that first wave of collections for Rebirth. That had been a high profile project. There's a lot of books coming out in March of 2017. So we were up against that comparatively. And again, we really can't underestimate the value of these high dollar hardcovers that are out there. There were 57 hardcovers that released in March of 2017, 48 in March of 2018. And when you actually look at if you just multiply price by units, you get 19 books that topped $100,000 at full retail in March of 2017. In March of 2018, there were only 6. So we just do not have as many huge graphic novel releases coming out at this point in the year this year. Again, it is early, and we will see where things go from here. I want to quickly look at another thing that we have added for this year on Comichron. We toyed with a little bit in 2017, running a comic sales to date page. And while we've always had kept track of the year to date in terms of these big vital statistics numbers in terms of the number of copies sold and everything. What we didn't do is, try to do a running tally of the top 100, and that's what we have here for both comics and for graphic novels. I could actually go all the way out to a top 500 if we wanted to, but the reason that I don't is because we only have information on these titles, reorders, when those titles actually make the list again, as we said was the case, for example, with Doomsday Clock 3, where it made the chart again in February and again in March. And so we can say that this number here for the number of copies shipped in 2017 is accurate to North America up through March 31st. It probably, may or may not make the charts again in April, but it certainly won't make it for every month of the year. And because of that, this figure here is going to end up undershooting the year-end total that we'll be able to calculate once Diamond provides, the end-of-year numbers in January 2019. But we can see already here, though, from what we have got, and again, these numbers are safer, more likely to be accurate for the ones very high on the list, because they will have appeared in the reorders in the top 500 a few more times. And number one is a book from March, Dark Knight's Metal 6, which leapt past everything else. Doomsday Clock 3 and Dark Knight's Metal 5. These two have traded positions twice now in the year-to-date list. And again, are just pretty much neck and neck there. Although Doomsday Clock has made more money than Dark Knight's Metal 5 did, simply because it's a $5 book versus a $4 book. We don't have a dollar rankings category here because it's just simply not something you can compute. Because the idea of price times units, that's good for a rough estimation. But remember that the rankings are really being done by Diamond using invoice dollars, using what retailers paid Diamond. So that's not possible. But this is something here where we can see books that did not top 100,000 copies their first month. We can see that they did get to that point, and by the time we get to the end of the year, we'll have a full accounting from Diamond, which will have all 12 months worth for these titles. And then we will be able to load that into our top comics of the decade page that we have, that you can find on our vital statistics page, or our top comics of the century so far, that is, which is also on that vital statistics page. One of the other things that we've got here, in addition to the top 100 comics and the top 100 graphic novels, which you'll note is still led by Walking Dead, the most recent book, you will see that we have market shares. Diamond does not provide these. These are calculated here at Comichron using the known market shares that are provided every month for each of the publishers in the top 20, multiplied by this figure that we compute every month, which is the overall dollar value of comics, graphic novels, trade paperbacks, and magazines, and it gives us a fairly rough estimate of what the end of year what the end of year averages or market shares are going to be when Diamond releases those. And actually, I'm not sure I should say that it's very rough, because when I did this last year, the numbers were almost perfectly in sync with what Diamond finally announced at the end of 2017 for the market shares. And as you will see here, the ordinal ranking here in the top 7 is pretty much about what it was at the end of 2016. But we can say, and what was probably worth mentioning earlier, is that DC is slightly up year to date over what it sold in 2017 in the first quarter, at least according to the math that we were able to derive from the charts. Dynamite is also up somewhat significantly, in fact, over its performance for the first quarter year to date. And again, this is a chart that will change monthly. And what we try to do is alert you to things that you need to look forward to, or that you should pay attention to in terms of understanding the headlines, understanding the numbers. If you look just at the unit sales for the month of January, you would have thought they were horribly off. In fact, January, we have the reminder here that Marvel overshipped a lot of comics in January 2017. In February, Image had its 25-cent anniversary issues. And we already know that once we get to May, when DC has its DC 25-cent issue that's coming out there, DC Nation Zero, which has already been reported to have 1 million copies in ordered for. Well, that's also going to blow up the unit sales rankings or the unit sales comparatives for that month. It will, DC will get credit for that in the unit sales charts, in the unit market share. They will probably not get much help from it, in the dollar side of things, because obviously it's whatever they charge for it, 7, 8, 12 cents, whatever it is, times 1 million. Is not gonna advance it too much in the market shares. But anyway, that is a quick look through the month. Probably as I record more of these, I'll have a better sense of some of the questions that people have coming in. Remember that there are always these other categories here at Comichron that do get updated. We update the 50th, 100th, 150th, 200th, 300th place title by month. We're also going to be adding a 400th place title by month link here. That actually is one of the pages. And what it does, what you can do is see how the depth of the business, or the depth of the comics being offered, has changed over time. Here in early 2000, for example, the charts petered out around 1,500 to 2,000 copies. Well, come all the way down here to 2018, where we've got quite a lot more publishers sort of in that middle tier of publishing. And we see numbers in the 4,000s, 5,000s at this level fairly regularly. And that is one way that the shape of the market has changed. And so, we do update those every month. We also update average cover prices by month. And whenever something warrants it, the comic sales records, which at this point are just for the Diamond exclusive era. But if you want to look back on some record-setting months, both positive and negative, they are here on the site. And again, as noted at the top, all of our monthly sales charts to date are findable here at the monthly comic sales page. And the intention here is to add quite a lot more of those, quite a lot more of our postal sales figures, and quite a lot more of some of our other data sets that we've got. So that is the month of March 2018. And until next time, we'll see you in the comic shop.